Talk about the Rooms tab, which is actually the heart of the extension, because this is a breakout rooms extension, and most of the work gets done right here in the Rooms tab. All right, in version 16.2, let's click on this. In version 16.2 and above, you may enter a nickname, a code, or a URL. Now, this is a very important change for Google Classroom users, and I think this would be a change that you want. I receive a lot of emails from users, Google Classroom users, and they say, I want to copy my Meet link, which is this right here on your Google Classroom page. They want to copy this into their main room, and that makes a lot of sense. I understand why they want to do that. In the past, I was not able to handle that because I required the actual Meet URL. So the actual Meet URL is what you see here. It's https meet.google.com, and then you have a 343 code right there. You see that? All right. Now in version 16.2, I'm able to handle nicknames, and that is going to be a huge help to a lot of teachers I know, because I receive a lot of emails asking, can you do nicknames? Can you do nicknames? And they also want to be able to use this right here, the Meet link. So yes, you can do that. Now, I try to make everything backward compatible as much as I can. And this is almost 100% backward compatible, except for one change for Google Classroom users. And it's requires you to do what you wanted to do all along. You wanted to be able to copy this right here into your main room. All right, now let's just take a look at the color scheme before I copy it in here. The purple is your static link. It stays the same. It never changes. It's always going to be that way. The off blue is the 343. And that's also static, but it's just a little bit of a shorthand. You don't have to type in that whole prefix. The nickname is, I'm sure you know what that is. It's a user-defined nickname. Now let me copy in. I'm going to click 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Highlights everything. And then I'm going to paste that in. All right, and I'm going to click Save. Now you see that the color changed to green, which indicates it's a nickname. I'm going to call up my text editor because I want to paste in that lookup. It's very important to understand what's going on here. This lookup, it's called a Meet link. I also refer to it as a lookup because it says lookup right here. And what does it look up? It looks up this, which is a system-generated nickname. So it's a 10-character system-generated nickname. It has no semantic meaning. It's just a random nickname that you get when you create a Google Classroom. All right, so let's just take a look at the interface here. You can enter either a nickname or a code or a URL. Now, when I copied in this Meet link, it's interpreting this as a nickname because in actual fact, when you call it up, it will tell you that it is a nickname. All right, so that's the way it works. Now, let me say this also. I really need to thank I need to thank all the people who email me. I'm really happy that you communicate with me. You tell me what's going on. You tell me, what works, what doesn't work. All right. Now, so one example is Dave in Florida. Hi, Dave. So Dave told me about some teachers in his school. They want to use this, but they also like to use the some teachers like to use the static. Okay. So I have to say this. For those users, there's no change at all for the breakout rooms. They could keep those exactly the same. It's just the main room where they would need to copy that in. And again, this is only for Google Classroom users. All right, so let's just go through this list and make sure we understand what's going on here. All right, so I talked about the very important change here. You can use the nickname. And I said, other than that, everything's backward compatible and so on. Nicknames are dynamic. And why are they dynamic? Because every time you call it up, you'll get a new Meet URL. So we don't know ahead of time, nobody knows ahead of time what that Meet URL is until you actually execute it. So it's known at runtime. The other advantage is that as soon as the class is over, it expires very quickly, and so that's good for privacy. Now, underneath nicknames, I'm referring to this as a Google Classroom nickname, and that's what this is. This is a Google Classroom nickname. So I'm just explaining that in actual fact, this is going to be interpreted as a nickname. You'll get a green color right here because that's under the covers. That's really what's going on. All right, so let's move on down to code. A code, I talked about that earlier. That's the 343 code. So you can see that right here. It's a 3-4-3- code. So you could enter that directly if you wanted to. You don't have to do that prefix. I know this is a little awkward. You want to highlight and you go, oh, it's moving around and stuff. So let me give you a little bit of a tip here. You could just put your cursor right there. All right, and I'm just gonna click Shift. I'm on a Mac, so I think it's probably Control for Windows users. And let's see, that's it. Okay, so what did I do here? I clicked and a Shift, Command, Backspace. I'm guessing for users, Windows users, it would be Shift, Control, Backspace. All right, if it's still not working for you, you can just copy it to a text editor and paste it in. All right, so this is an example of a code that's also static. I explained that right here. A Meet URL is what you see in the purple. It's the full Meet static link. I want to point this out here. These can also be dynamic. Now, let me explain that. There is a settings tab. There's a, maybe I'll save this for now. Okay, so I'll go to the settings tab. Way down at the bottom, there's a lot of verbiage here. Now this is only relevant, these two checkboxes are only relevant for the Meet URL. They're ignored for nicknames and codes. All right, so this is only relevant for the static Meet URLs. If you click on this and you click on that for the main room and the breakout rooms, you could do it independently of each other. Then, even if you have these as static URLs, when you execute it and when you call it up, you'll get a brand new one in here. So you could always get a brand new one in there by just blanking it out, blanking it out, blanking it out. We'll just blank all these out and blank all those out. All right, and I'll say goodbye to Pluto for now. All right, and I'll click Save. Now you could always do this, and then when you click Save, the extension will go out there and refresh these links for you. What that checkbox does is it's a convenience so that you don't have to blank out these fields and click Save to get a brand new one. All right, but honestly, nicknames are the way to go if you want things to be dynamic. So I'm keeping this checkbox here if you want it, but if this is really what you want, I do believe nicknames are a better option for you. So here we go. We have all this. It's all backward compatible. If you like static links, you're fine. You can keep doing it. Not everybody's a Google Classroom user. So this whole discussion that I mentioned about copying this in there, that's only relevant for Google Classroom users. If you're a non-Google Classroom user, you just blank it out and click Save. And everything's will just rock along exactly how it did before. Okay, so all right, let me look at this and make sure I cover everything here. So you can use nicknames. I'll show you that in a second. And codes, that's easy, 343. The statics of what you've been used to before, and a resource URL is any website that you want to teach. So I deleted Pluto, but I'll add it back in just to show you. So I'll click on the green button here. I'm going to call this Pluto. So let me just say that I'm teaching an astronomy class or a nature class, and there's a web page that I want to use as part of my online instruction. And so I'll use Pluto as an example, and maybe I like the wiki on Pluto. So I'll go over here and just pre-planning. I want to pre-position some websites for my teaching, and I'll just click and paste and I'll save it. What that means is I can call it up and use it during my discussion. All right. it will tile and things like that. I won't slide into it because it doesn't make sense. It's not a meet, but you know, I could at least call it up. All right, so let me go through these one by one. The nickname is the most interesting one because that's what's new in 16.2. So let's go through this. So I'm going to use a Google Classroom example here. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to click paste. All right, and I'll save it. All right, so that's a nickname. All right. Now, you may not think of it as a nickname, but I want to prove to you it is a nickname. All right, so you'll get this pop-up right here, and it says, this is your nickname. It is a meeting nickname. And if we look back at that link, that is exactly the same right there. Okay, so under the covers, it's a nickname. All right, the reason why it's important is just because I want to reinforce that this green color is a nickname. All right. So what that means is you have two options here. You don't have to type in the whole lookup if you don't want to. I think it's more convenient to do it that way. But you could also just type in this last part right here, and you'll get to the same spot. Okay. So you could just do that. All right. But I think it's easier just to copy in that whole thing. So I'm going to highlight that. Put this in here. Great. Now, the way the interface works is it has logic built into it. The default situation is everything is considered to be a nickname unless you have https://. So let me demonstrate that for you. I will, I'll just delete these out and start over. Okay. I just want to show you how easy it is to do. So we'll just say I want 3 breakouts right now. And I'll just call this room 1, room 2, and room 3. Now, if the moment you type anything in, it will be considered to be a nickname. So let's just say I want to call this room right here Magic 1. Magic 1, okay. And this will be, the second I type in the M, then oops, yeah, there it is. It's interpreted as a nickname. Magic 2, Magic 3. All right, so then I'll click Save. Let me run this example here. I will go to the Meet over here, and I'll just say, I'll make sure that I'm on the right course. Yes, Web Magic, and I want 3 breakouts. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I will, let me close this down for a second. I will go ahead and run it. I'll run the main room first, and I want to show you something interesting. Right, if you open this up through the extension and you run the main room, it will automatically sync it up. Now that's something new because I wasn't able to do that before. Now I can. All right, so it's all synced up, and you can click here for the microphone. All right, and the video. What happened to the microphone? Oh yeah, microphone and the video. Yeah. All right, so everything's looking okay. Let me just turn the microphone off. Yeah, that turned off. The video turned off. All right. If you find that you ever get out of sync, then you can do a right arrow and a left arrow, and that should get it back in sync. Although I do have to say a user did email me a video where it was not in sync, and I don't have an explanation for that. Some things are just a little bit off on extensions. Sometimes that things don't update in all modules as cleanly as I would hope they would. I don't know. If you do find some issue, let me know and email me. And if you've got a short little video, like a 15-second video, that would be great. I don't need the whole video, just a link is fine. All right, now we do have this thing open here. And let's just go ahead and open the rest. And I will do that right now. This help video is going to be a little bit long because, like I said, the breakout rooms are the heart of this extension. And I really want to make sure that you're comfortable with this and you understand how it works. All right, so I'm going to hit retile to get everything retiled, and I'm going to minimize this, and I'm just going to get rid of these windows. I just click twice, once to highlight the window and then once to get rid of the pop-up. All right, and then I'm here. If you ever lose the extension or it's gone, you can just click here and it'll reappear. All right, so let's go ahead and make sure everything's working fine. I'll click here on the microphone. Yes, the video. Okay, looking good. And then we'll click here, room 1, room 2, room 3. All right, so we feel pretty confident everything's working fine. All right, now one thing I want to do is I really want you, all the teachers, to get comfortable with the fact that this is opening up the way you expect it to do. So let's take a look at this URL right here. I'm going to highlight it. You can click anywhere in the window, or you can click right here. It'll highlight the whole thing. But let's just say you're in the window. It's Command or Control L, and that'll highlight everything, and then you just do a Command or Control C. I'm going to copy that right here in my text editor just so I have it handy. So I might as well do some others along the way. Command Control L, and I'm going to put this here. Now this is going to be, I'll separate. We know the order here, but I'm going to say this one is going to be Web 1 nickname, and this is going to be my main. This is my main. This is what the extension opened, and I want to prove to you that it actually did open the right one. All right, so we're going to go over here and Command Control L, copy, and then we will paste it. And then the last one was nickname Web 3, and I will do the same. Command Control L, copy, and I will paste it. Okay, great. So even though the extension doesn't know what this meet URL is, at runtime, the nickname will automatically call this up, and my extension will be able to read that nickname, and it will communicate with Google, and it'll find out what that URL is. It'll resolve that URL so that the extension and the Open Meet are all in sync. But I need to prove that to you. I haven't proved that to you yet. So let's go do that. Let me share with you a couple transaction codes, which are very helpful. And one of them is https://g.co/meet/ I'm going to say nickname. Now you could also say /shortcut. In this context, they're the exact same thing. Now, what do I want to do? I want to prove to myself that I'm actually calling up the right one. Okay, so what I did here was I'm going to prove the main room two different ways. The first way is this is what I called up here. I'm going to go to my Google Classroom, and I'm going to say, well, if I were to call up Google Classroom, what URL would it call up? This may be more information than you need for like a help tutorial, but I think it's crucial you understand what's going on here. All right, so I'm copying this and I'm going to paste it right here. Let's examine it. Right, so everything's great. So this is what meet URL would be called up if I were to call it up directly in Google Classroom. And this is what my extension called up. So we're all going to the same spot. We're all going to the same address. There's one small little nuance, and I want to explain this to you so you understand. There's a question mark auth user equals 0. In URL talk, in the web, if you see a question mark, what that means is that you're passing a parameter to the website. And just to let you know, I did some research on this. This is saying I'm using my primary account. I'm using my primary account. So Google Meet and Google Classroom, that's all based off of your primary account. What is your primary account? Your primary account is the default account. It's the very first account you log into. All right. Now, I just kind of strip that off when I'm working with my extension because it's not relevant for what I'm doing here. I need to match up on the root, right? So there we go. So we proved that the extension does call up the right address. All right. Now, there's one other way I can prove it is I'll use this shortcut method here, this transaction code I just shared with you. Now, remember, I made the bold claim that this actually is a nickname, but I want to prove that to you right now. So I'm going to go here, and I'm just going to, just do a copy paste just to make myself get it all organized before I paste it in. So I'm going to paste that there. Okay, so I'm going to prove that to you. I'm going to say, well, what if I actually did that transaction code here for nickname? What would I get? And I should get the exact same address. If I don't, then something's off. So Okay, good. And let's just take a look, and I'm going to do a copy, and I'm going to do a paste. All right, there we go. So everything's all matching up. The extension's working fine. It's able to resolve. It's able to find that address, and everything is in sync. All right, so let me just close those down. Now let me just also show you a couple of the, just do web 1, and I'll do the exact same thing for web 1. I'm going to use this transaction code, and I want to prove to you that it did call up the right one. So this is going to be web 1, and for purposes of this right here, it's not going to matter if it's uppercase or lowercase. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm just going to paste that in and see what happens. And what do we get? Okay, so let me just copy that, and I'm going to go paste here. And I got a different address. Was it? Did I lie to you? Oh, what did I say? Magic 1. Magic 1, Magic 2, Magic 3. Oh my gosh, I freaked myself out. All right, so let's go take a look here. In the extension, for the rooms, it's Magic 1, Magic 2, Magic 3. Okay, well, actually, that's good then. All right. So, all right. This is really Magic 1, Magic 2, Magic 3. Sorry about that. Actually, I do like videos, instructional videos when the developer makes a little bit of a mistake, because that way you can understand and have a little bit of confidence that things do work, and it's okay that you type in something wrong. Okay, but let's go run it again, and I need it to be Magic 1, Magic 2, because that's what it says here: Magic 1, Magic 2, Magic 3, and also in my extension for my rooms, I said it's Magic 1, Magic 2, Magic 3. All right, now let's do it again. Okay, let's do it again, and then we will paste it right here. I'll get rid of that. All right, and I should get this. It would be a question mark auth user, but that's fine. So we'll do this and see what happens. Great, that looks good to me, but let's just double check. So I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it right here. And there we go. Yes, okay, that all matches up fine. As long as I'm having success, as long as we're having fun, let's just finish it off with the other two. All right, so I'll do that, copy that, and it doesn't matter what window you type it in. All right, so I'll enter that and see what we get. And yeah, so I'll copy that and paste it. Yes, we are all in alignment. We are going to this right address. And I'll do the last one for Magic 3. And highlight that. And I'll paste it. And away we go. Good. All right, very good. Okay, so everything is in good shape. Now let's continue on with the rest of the explanation for the Rooms tab. So I showed you this. This is huge. I took some time out because I wanted to prove to you, so you have some confidence that this actually goes to the right spot. Okay, so I did prove that. Now I want to go to show you how you can do codes. Now here's another way you could create a new code if you wanted to. You can use this other transaction code. Here it is. It's https://meet.google.com/new. All right, this is very handy. We'll just go ahead and try that out, and I'll type that in here. And what will I get? I'll get a brand new code. This is a valid code for me as a user. And I can create a room here, and I'll just call this room 4, and I'll paste that in. Okay, this is actually the whole URL, but I just want the first part. So remember that little shortcut I showed you: Shift, Command or Control, and delete, and that'll get everything to the left. All right, and I'll save that. So this is an example of a static code. And let me add a URL. I'll do the exact same thing. Let me close this down, and then I'll create a new one here. Oh, I'll show you two different ways of creating a new one. And I'll just copy this, and I will paste that in for a new one. Okay, room 5. All right, I'll paste that in. But actually, the easiest way is just to leave it blank. Just leave it blank. If you want a brand new one, you can do that. Just leave it blank. Okay, so 3 different ways you can create statics, one with a code, one with the URL, use that transaction code, but the simplest way is just leave it blank and the extension will figure it out, brand new one for you, and it'll put it in that spot when you hit save. All right, now I want to add one more room, and that'll be room 7. And well, I'll just call it Pluto, you know, my friend Pluto here. So we're going to go and call up the wiki on Pluto. I just want to show you how that works. Command or Control L, copy. Did I copy it? Copy it. And then I'll click paste. All right, so we have all different varieties here. I want to show you one more thing that's very interesting. Since this is already on my clipboard, it's pretty easy. I'm going to do delete that out. I want to show you again how the interface works and it interprets things, because I think it's beneficial to understand a little bit what's going on under the covers here. So I can type in HTTPS : it still thinks it's a nickname because it's not a valid URL yet. And then I'm going to type in // Okay, so then at that point it knows that, oh, you want to enter a static URL. So I could type in meet.google.com or, you know, the Pluto example. Now, the one exception is the lookup, because lookup special, what does it do? It looks up a code. So I have a one-off situation. I said, if it's HTTPS anything, then // it'll be URL unless you're saying that it's a lookup. Now, if it's a lookup, then it's a nickname. All right, so I'll show you that right now. So I'll say look up, and then when I hit /, boom, there we go. I can just say Robbie1. All right, let me go with that, and I'm going to say this is room 7, because I did get some examples emailed to me of teachers. They would create user-defined lookups, user-defined nicknames. Now, obviously, the easiest way is just to type in right here, magic123. However, I think some users probably have already predefined these and they want to use them. That's fine, and you could just enter the whole part prefix and then Robbie1, and that will work. Okay, now let me create one more room. That's going to be my friend Pluto. So it's going to be, I'll just call it Pluto, and then I'll go back here. I'll do Command Control L, copy, and then I will paste. All right, so this is a very, very robust example. We have everything going on here. We got nicknames, we got codes, we got URLs, and you know, one of those URLs was automatically created for us because we blanked it out. I'll just show you that again. There you go. All right, if you want your URL to remain the same, not change, that's fine. It will not change it unless you blank it out. All right. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Let's go ahead and call all of this up. Now we will go here, and our example is a Google Classroom. Now there is, let's just call it all. Let's do that. All right, so let me just do a Command and Control W, and I'll just get rid of these. And I'll get rid of that one, and I'll get rid of that one. All right, so then we're all in good shape here. What is this? Okay, so I don't need this. And what else is going on? I don't need Pluto either. And so let's go take a look here on the, this is a help video for rooms, but I just want to quickly go through how you would prove out that this does work. So you would go to the Meet tab, and you go start the class. And I'll go over this later in detail, the difference between Google Classroom and so on. But just to finish out this one example, how this whole works, if I want to call up everything, I need to go here in the choose course tab. I'm in WebMagic, that's fine. And I have to choose the right number of rooms. Now in this case, I'm going to open up everything. So I'm going to say 8. All right. And then I'm going to say, just for convenience, open everything all together. And let's take a look. All right, so we start seeing things opening up for us. And this looks good to me. All right, so this is our Google Classroom. This is our system-generated nickname. And then Magic 1, Magic 2, Magic 3, all right. Room 4, these are the statics, okay? And, right, and then Pluto's down here. And if we want to verify that these are calling up the right URLs, I already went through the process of proving that these did call up the right ones, but let's just check the other ones. So the static for the code, is that right? Yes, it is, right, that matches. This looks like it matches, yes. All right, so you can verify that all this is matching, and then Pluto's down at the bottom. And since we opened everything all up through the extension, that is automatically synced, and then you can move around and so on. All right, so that's it for this one. It's a little bit long, I know, but the heart of this whole extension is right here. It's right here. If you get stuck, then click here, and you should see all the information you need. That'll help you out. You could also click here. It'll get you the same spot. Okay? All right, let's move on to the next section.